I shall just do a little introduction and then everyone can introduce themselves. So it's their show, it's not ours. I'm just here as an observer. So, background a little bit. In the September, October, we start kind of initiative about student outreach.
Okay.
Following the example of Pandavasena in the UK. So we start to, so we get some information what they're doing, we get their materials, and we try to put together devotees who are students and who are, Krishna conscious, and to try to infiltrate and try to be present in the student.
Infiltrate.
Yes. Yeah, very
tricky.
Yeah, very systematically and
systematically brainwash.
To change the world and students. Something like that. So we try to meet and we already organized 2 sets of programs in 2 different locations, and the idea is to, because there in Ljubljana there is 23 faculties and 40,000 students. So it's one of the largest universities in Europe.
Wow. So
it's a lot of potential and a lot of so like to be slowly present in each, because many devotees are students, and it's the easiest way to come into the scene is for those students who are student on that particular or parent university or faculty. So this is like a, and also that devotees can also because everyone is so skilled, the students. Prabhupada said that one student, one student is for 1,000 other people, because they will be future leaders, right?
Put me out of business.
So it's the idea that they can train and then become leaders, also Krishna conscious leaders, of course, and many devotees are also second generation. Their parents are also devotees.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So Urukram's daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. I didn't know Urukram was that old.
Well, it's young.
So your grandfather just passed away? Or?
Yeah, he did.
I'm sorry about that. Condolences.
Thank you.
Were you close with him, or?
Yeah, quite. We live together, so quite.
So it must be painful.
Yeah.
Okay, my condolences about that.
And Lila also, father and mother works in the women's restaurant.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
You look like that. I visited your house in Serbia.
Yeah, I heard. They told me.
When you were this small.
Yes, so it's...
Yeah, I should visit the restaurant before I go tomorrow, just to see Kiridari. I haven't seen him this trip.
When he's working? Morning, yeah.
No, I think afternoon.
Oh, afternoon.
Yeah.
Mom?
Lunchtime, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, we
No,
know.
actually don't know.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's this one of ideas, that devotees can be engaged in the field where they are good at, and
very nice.
And they're very enthusiastic. They're eager to present Krishna consciousness and that surroundings.
Good.
So maybe we can just introduce something. Say, how do you feel about this program, and how. And then a question, Hello Maharaj, this is now's the time.
Now's the time.
Yeah. Please.
Okay. You go around, or you?
Yeah, maybe. Name, what you're doing, what you study, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
So for our club, I think, it's very special to me because I think I really enjoy company of devotees, and I haven't had such close friendships for a long time with devotees. I think we connected very well and we can spread a bit more Krishna conscience in some way to other students. So I think it's a very nice project that we do.
Good. Very good. So.
Okay.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. So I also joined, although I'm not a student anymore, but I still have connections at the Faculty for Education, where we started with the program as well. I mean, why is it so like? Why is it pulling me? This program is like, because even before I joined ISKCON, I had this, something needs to be done on the spot, like with the students. Because I was studying at the Faculty of Pedagogic Studies for Education, and I just had this realization that, in order to do like good to others, I need to work on myself. And I was seeing how, how we were trained up, like we weren't really trained up. So, and then this is like, it's a really nice opening for that. But what I wanted to ask you is like, some months ago, I just finished the teacher's training course for laughing yoga. So I'm a laughing yoga instructor.
Oh no!
I was thinking, because,
yoga.
yes,
Wow.
because I know you're an
No, I
expert
teach
in
it
that
also,
field
yeah.
as well.
Really?
Ah, really?
So, how
You
can
know that. I did it in the summer camps years ago.
Yes, in Serbia.
Serbia and Croatia, before you were born.
Oh yes, yeah.
What is laughing yoga?
Da se baš smiš.
No, it's
Laugh.
you just do it now.
It means laugh for no reason whatsoever. Cure all your disease, increase your immune system, and live forever. And so, and be happy.
And the premises is this, like the body doesn't know the difference whether you're faking it or you're laughing like heartily laughter.
Whoa.
So then all the chemicals and the biochemical processes will start working immediately if you're just faking the laugh.
Wow.
Yeah, we have mantras too,
Really?
Ho ho ho, ha ha ha, ho ho.
So I was thinking, I mean, I
It's a
had...
good to cyclic succession.
Finally.
I mean, because I had some thoughts and ideas how to like present this to the Devotee Society, but I was thinking how to like present this to non-devotees, but still like implement the Krishna consciousness in it.
Well, I have all sorts of presentations to do that,
Okay.
to implement Krishna consciousness. I've done it quite a bit at yoga centers and things like that. So anyway, and I'm still crazy. That's right. I mean, notice that's why I laugh a lot. So, yeah, I mean, I could share my experiences. It's quite easy. You talk about how the natural condition of the soul is to be happy, and then, the whole thing fake it until you make it, and then people become very susceptible to suggestions when they've been laughing a lot. You can tell them any damn thing. You just get people laughing, all those exercises. I have like thousands of different exercises I developed, more than the books or anything like that. I actually developed it quite extensively,
Okay.
laugh yoga. And then, I don't know, just being yourself. I mean, I did it. Interesting, I also teach nonviolent communication, which you probably have heard about,
Yes, yes. Madhuri Radhika is my god sister.
which I've actually, I call it empathic communication, I don't call it nonviolent communication. And I publish books, and there's a book, my book in Croatian is coming out in about 2 months from now. Not in Slovenian. Slovenians are too serious. They don't like to laugh, it's just like, always too serious, So, so anyway, I'm into it.
So, but where can I get like?
I can send you some PowerPoints.
That would be.
You get a hold of my email address and I can send you or give you links to some PowerPoints and some things that I've done. And almost got kicked out of ISKCON for doing that. We have some people on the GBC who are extremely conservative, to say the least. like Budgie Narayan or yeah, and then he saw a video of me on YouTube doing laugh yoga, and I had to take it off of YouTube because I got in trouble. But anyway, I've done it everywhere except for Slovenia, actually. It's true. I mean,
That's why
everywhere
we
in
don't
Croatia, and then in the Croatian camps, and Split, you know, everywhere. And, and also I did it with Satchidananda Maharaj, and he liked it. So, anyway.
You think it could go to the university as well? Like, is it like?
Yeah, as long as you have the
Recreating.
scientific studies to
Yes.
to corroborate what you know how laugh yoga works, increases your productivity. You know, I'm sure you've studied all those things
Yes,
with the
we
graphs.
did.
I just put all those things into my PowerPoints.
Okay.
You know, how you know there's actually studies like scientific studies that in the workplace when your productivity increases a certain percent, your happiness increases a certain percent, and you get more work out of your workers. And in many countries, like they do laugh yoga. In some places in India, they do laugh yoga. In some places in Japan, they do it before they start working. And it's, you know, the people are happy. And you oxygenate, you know, it's good for the brain. It's the best aerobic exercise. And if you ever have a heart attack, it starts the heart again, you know. That's true. If there's no one around to do CPR, you just start laughing when you have a heart attack. I'm serious about it. You can just start laughing because what the doctor suggests, this is something like the doctor suggests when you have a heart attack and no one's around, you got to restart your heart. You just like that. But it's more effective if you just start laughing hysterically and rolling on the ground. Yes, really. I like it. Yeah, anyway. So,
That's a good
Sounds
thing.
funny.
it's funny, yeah. And it's good at the university, at yoga centers. I mean, people really like it.
So maybe next time when you are here, we can organize program in the university.
Oh, the university, not the temple. Not one of the deities.
It is there. The faculty.
I mean, once you see it, you won't believe it, because you run around like hysterically laughing, falling on the ground. And you have all these exercises, like the shock exercise. That's one of the standard ones they teach. That you start laughing and then you shake hands with someone and you get 1,000-volt shock in your hands. And you scream, you know. It's good. Wow. It's good to find a laugh guru here. I was feeling Slovenia was hopeless.
Never give hope.
Not some hope. I just thought you had, you know, just people so serious and cult members. And it's good. Okay. Yeah, so we can definitely do something. Okay.
Okay.
I'm Adriana. I think I was meeting you by the mercy of Andrea and Kema Manjari last year.
Yeah.
And I just started my first year of college this year, and yeah, I feel like I'm not really I feel like my consciousness really deteriorated during the first months of college, and I just like I attend and try to help the club, like not completely stop the club.
College. What are you studying in college?
English and Russian.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
What did
Yeah,
you?
It's important to get education.
Yeah.
All that can be used later on, like I use my education in science. You know, everybody has their own fields that they like to study. Like, you know, Yiganektananta, when we were talking about science the other day, I was feeling ecstasy and just jumping up and down like this, you know, so we should do what we like to do for Krishna.
Thank you.
This English is for teaching or translation? How?
I haven't decided yet.
Oh, that is
Yes. After
Later on you decide.
I get to decide after 2 years. I mean, I have to decide.
I can give you some hint. We need very skillful, qualified translator of Baba books. We already spoke about that. So you have a job already.
If she likes to do it.
If she likes. If she likes.
Otherwise, you can translate the Laugh Yoga books.
If you trust me with that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make a mistake with Laugh Yoga. Okay.
Hare Krishna, my name is Saraswati, and I also left this club because it like made me think about the questions I've maybe never asked before, you know, because I was born in Krishna consciousness, and like a lot of people are asking about like why I'm here, am I happy or not, what am I doing with my life, you know, who is God. And now when I'm in this club, you know, I actually ask these questions by myself also, and because, you know, I have to give this knowledge to others. So I also, you know, my faith in Krishna is like becoming more strong because of this. When I see, you know, I'm like not the only one, other people care about this as well. So, and yeah, I also think this club is really important because it's a direct way to like teach people about Krishna, because like, I mean, Sankirtan is great, but you know, they just get the book, but here in the club you can, you know, talk and like explain them everything, and you know, it's this, because you make relationship with them, they can actually like become more attracted to everything you say and become friends with them, and like this they will probably be more likely to, you know, come to temple and become interested in these topics.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. It's interesting to be second generation devotee.
Yeah, it is.
I'm glad I wasn't. The reason I'll unpack that statement is because I'm naturally rebellious. If my parents were Krishna conscious, I would have rebelled by becoming a demon.
Scientist.
So at least my parents were not Krishna conscious, so I rebelled by So, you know, it's hard being born into something and not having chosen that thing.
Yeah.
Because then you really got to figure out, you know, why am I here? But if you choose something, there's a lot of enthusiasm. Like I chose Krishna consciousness, but if you're born, you know, that's just something my family does, you know, Hare Krishna, whatever. So this club and being able to reach out and interact with others is good.
Yeah.
Because then you really begin to see the reason for Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
It's good. Wow. Why aren't you filming everybody?
Because then I would need to film myself.
I think it's interesting what everybody's saying, and it just me there. You know?
Okay, but now it's my turn. No, it's okay.
You've been filming just me the whole time.
Yeah.
What about them? All right.
Okay. My name is Clement.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, Clement, it's you.
I mean, I also really like this project because we are like on a mission, and I feel like we are like secret agents, because when you go there, you know, you put off the dhoti, tilak, everything, you hide, and you're just there trying to preach others. And I don't know, it's just really good. You
cut your cheek off and you.
Glue it back.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's actually nice, you know, having this solution and then knowing you can help people. It's really good to feel like that. And then just having to be a little tricky and helping people. It's fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. All right.
Hello. I'm Tommy.
I know.
You know. I thought that you wouldn't recognize me because I cut my hair off.
Well, you got a big secret.
So I wasn't born in Krishna consciousness, obviously.
You're lucky.
Yeah. And before I joined, I was like a sort of hippie stuff, and this really kind of changed my life. So with this club I'm really into giving this to others, you know, this, because I got through this transformation kind of, and it really feels like it's supposed to go around.
Good.
And my question is, because with this club we have it's bridge preaching program, so we're not speaking about God or things like that, but yeah, more like scientific, like
Whatever attracts
psychology,
people.
yeah. But I mean, I don't know if we are sure. Should we focus on small groups, smaller number of groups, but focus on quality, or should we go like a lot of people and, you know, because we are now having like 5 people there and they're open to that extent that we can, you know, go speak deeper stuff, but we don't get really a lot of people, you know. And we were thinking, what about, because we need to adapt the program, you know, what are we talking about, because it doesn't attract big numbers of people.
So which do you need to do?
Yeah, what
I think you need to do both.
Both.
Because when you do the large group, you can figure out who is actually interested and then invite them to the small group.
So like 2 separate programs.
Yeah, I think you need 2 separate programs geared to different groups.
Yeah, one Prabhu advised that because we are focusing on students, that we should have like more party something, you know, because they're into that, but
Yeah, why not? I mean, Krishna conscious party.
yeah.
Yeah, why not? Just don't let any old people come.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I joined the movement, everybody was your age. We didn't have any young people, except Prabhupada was the only adult in the Hare Krishna movement. It was really nice. It was fun and nice. And then when we grew up, things got a little dull. It was. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. There was a lot of room for taking responsibility, because everybody was like equal. And there were no like old people just telling you, you know, you gotta apply and follow this rule and take this test and take this course and sorry. And it was fun. So Krishna consciousness should be fun for everybody. And you have to do Krishna conscious party, a rave, I don't know what it's Not really, but anyway, whatever you have to do, you know, without doing something too crazy, then go ahead and do it to bring people to Krishna consciousness. And I think sometimes it's good not to think of it as a bridge, but as a destination. You're not gonna like this one. So, in other words, most people will not come to the point of, you know, wearing dhotis and being and tilak and everything like that. And I think we really want to spread Krishna consciousness in a big way. Then we're going to have people who never wear a dhoti their whole lives, but chant Hare Krishna and read, you know, Bhagavad Gita, understand the philosophy in their own lives. You know, so we have to be careful about not trying to impose too much or any, perhaps, Indian culture on people. You know, people want to be a vegan, for example, like me. And actually, this is interesting. In our temple in North Carolina, we have vegan Sunday feast.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
You heard about it? And we track young people, you know, like that.
Everyone is vegan except the deities, no?
No, the deities are not vegan. They're not fanatics. We allow them. But you know, it's vegan, and then we have this program. Actually, we we gave another name to our program. Originally it was Krishna West. But then the problem with the name Krishna West was that everybody looked up the name Krishna and they found out that we were a cult. So then I changed and rebranded it to Reincarnation Connection. And now we got a lot of people.
Sunday feast.
No, not the Sunday feast is
Oh, okay.
it's for the congregation, you know, for the fanatic Hare Krishna. But even a lot of the fanatic Hare Krishna devotees, and even the Indian people who come on Sunday, they want a vegan thing because they're interested in compassion and, you know, nonviolence and ahimsa. But I'm talking about our university program because we also have a university there with about 50,000 students, and we have a place like 2 blocks away from the campus. So we just rebranded it as Reincarnation Connection, and then so many more people came. And we're not hiding the fact that we're Hare Krishnas. But it just, the word, you know, the brand attracts a lot of people.
You hear what? You hear like
What program?
class?
Well, no class. Well, I mean, it's almost like a class, it's a discussion. We read the Bhagavad Gita, verses of the Bhagavad Gita. We sit around in a circle, you know, nobody's sitting up on big Vyasa-san and people offering arti to her. It's you know, someone reads the Bhagavad Gita, one of the devotees, and then we go around the room, what do you think about this verse? It's facilitated discussion. We chant a round together.
Wow.
1 round of japa, everyone chants a round of
On the
japa.
first meeting, no.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we give everybody some japa beads. They don't keep the japa beads. We have non-tulsi japa beads, you know, wood, regular wood tulsi. And everybody sits around. This is meditation. This is meditation, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And we all sit around. We chant around together, and you know, discuss things. And sometimes we have birthday parties for people. You know, just like social life. A lot of social life, but it's a lot of Krishna consciousness. And then and then we have a lot of musical things. Because a lot of the students, and I'm sure it's the same here, study music. And we have like expert people studying the piano, the guitar, and everything. And then we have, after prasadam, we have a jam session that goes to midnight sometimes. Chanting Hare Krishna.
But on faculty side, or I mean, the place. What's the place?
The place is near the university.
Oh, it's
It's
rented.
not in the university campus
Okay.
itself, but it's rented right next to the university. And we have it for free because we have students who are becoming devotees. They had to live someplace anyway, so they each rent a room in the place. You understand what I mean? So we don't have to pay anything for it because they'd have to stay. This school there is all like a school that people sleep at. You know, they have to stay at. It's not like they come from home. Most of the students don't come from home. They leave home. And and so then we have prasadam. Everyone sits in a table. No sitting on the floor or anything like that. People aren't used to sitting on the floor. And they all eat together and joke together at the table. And we have birthday parties for people, Christmas parties, presents, you know, whatever. And then at night, after the prasadam, then there's chanting Hare Krishna until midnight or something like that. Sometimes it's like that.
How many they come?
It can be anywhere between 4 to 15 people come for that. And definitely no lectures because people at the university they've had enough lectures during the day. They want to interact.
Yeah.
Everyone wants an interactive. And we do sometimes laugh yoga, sometimes a reincarnation experience. You caress people. Oh, Hare Krishna. And it's fun. It's a fun time, and then people identify as that, and then some of them come to the temple later on, sometimes. But I try to not give them the culture shock at the temple. We had one girl, and I tried to keep her away from the temple. Eventually she came, and then she became a devotee, but anyway. Whenever she came, because we had places around the temple too where they'll come and meet with me or something, I just say, don't have to go there, it's all closed right now. And one day she snuck over and went and saw the teacher against my instructions. Anyway, and she became a devotee. So, it's fun. It's a fun thing. And then also, another thing we do, and I don't do it, I'm having people do this, is just we constantly keep contact with the people we're cultivating, and texting is a big thing, I guess they use Instagram a lot now, or whatever, Instagram, texting and everything. So you're constantly in contact with people, and it works. It works actually. One of the first students who became a devotee is now going for his PhD, hopefully he gets admitted to Oxford, a PhD in religion in Oxford. Yeah, he already did his master's, he just finished his master's degree locally, and now he's going to, well I'll find out if he got admitted to Oxford. Either Oxford or Duke University, or Harvard. One of those three universities. So and he's really a good preacher, and he came because of that.
But can I ask if most of the people that come to your programs are Indians?
No,
Because I was in London and completely different scene there, because they're already open to this, like they know about demigods, everything. So they're in this culture, so it's like so much easier, for Indians to join.
Yeah, well, not at the temple, yes, but at the center, no. I mean, maybe we have one Indian or something like that, but 90% of people, 99% of the people are actually just Western body young people. We specifically focus like that. At another university that's run by one of our Indian members, everyone at that program is Indian. So we have 3 universities, each one with about 50,000 students. Big university. We have Duke University, which is right there, University of North Carolina, and then North Carolina State, 3, and then several smaller universities around where we are. And so, no, it's not Indians. It's good old Western people. And, so we don't, there's nothing with demigods or nothing like that we got to deal with. It's just fun. Fun and yoga and connection and like that. You just have to address people's needs and let them become Krishna conscious on the level that they're ready to become Krishna conscious with. We haven't done so much yoga. Yoga we really haven't gotten into. And I don't know whether that would work at the university or not. I know a lot of people there are into yoga, but many times when you get people into yoga, they're already jaded, we say. They already have an outlook on life. So like Prabhupada said, it's easier to teach someone something when they didn't teach themselves beforehand. So we find the students quite open, quite receptive, and anyway, it's nice. What can I say? It's a nice program. Your program here is nice too. And you're lucky you got some nice second generation devotees here, which is good. And it helps with the faith of the second generation devotees too, when they can go out and see Krishna consciousness in action, not just in their homes. I don't think we have any second generations. I mean, we have, but they're too young right now to be at the university. But we don't stress any cultural things, but certainly not dhotis, saris, or anything like that. It's just like, be yourself and be Krishna conscious in however you are. And that's the way people need to be. They can't. People don't want to become Indians. Like me. I was a hippie too, so. And I had more hair than you. I had hair here. I looked like a bear when I came out. All right. Any other questions? Or?
I have one more question. I've been struggling with this a lot lately. So I know so many good people that are non-devotees. But when I spend, I don't know, maybe 4 days in temple with devotees, and when I come out, like in school or something, I just see myself distancing from them because my brain is like, oh, they're not devotees, I need to associate with devotees, they're, I don't know how to say it, but in my mind I feel like they're, I don't want to say less than like devotees, but it is how I think, and then I have to like, okay, all people have Krishna in their hearts and I need to change that. But then when I associate with non-devotees, like I'm mostly 8 hours in school with non-devotees, it's hard for me to come to the temple again with devotees. And I'm so confused. How can I balance both things? I don't know.
I think first of all, stop calling them non-devotees.
Yeah, I know. I just.
It's just the nomenclature actually fixes the mind in a particular way. If you see, everyone is an aspiring devotee. They just don't know it. You know, the way I see people is that people have amnesia. You know what amnesia is? It means they've forgotten who they are. And they're just, but I see everyone as a devotee. I mean, I tell you, that's my consciousness. When I'm with someone who is not a member of the Krishna consciousness, well, I'm not going to say non-devotees. We actually talked about that the first day I was here with the youth group.
I remember, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And the whole youth group was here, and I was just saying, I just don't like that term because it's a negative of what someone isn't. Rather, we should just say that, you know, I just look at them as parts and parcels of Krishna. I mean, that's actually how I see it. Everyone's my brother and sister. You know, even the dog is my brother, dog and cat or whatever. I was at St. Francis, saw things like, you know, St. Francis of Assisi, saw things like that. And then, I don't, somehow or other, I don't think in categories. I think that's the real issue there, to think, to categorize people. I just see people, you know, and I like people, and I mean, there's certainly, of course, because I'm also like a brainwashed devotee, then when I'm with people who haven't realized they're devotees yet, and when they're talking about all these things, it's hard for me to relate to some of the things, you know. They start talking about football games or movie stars or whatever. It's like from Mars, pretty basically. But I was always like that, even before I didn't become a devotee, but even before I made believe I was a devotee. So even before I shaved my head, I was practically always like that. You know, I was always like pretty disinterested in the world. But right now I can relate to everyone. Like I call my mother regularly, and she is not practicing Krishna consciousness right now. And I told the story I think I told it to all the devotees, that sometimes I just slip up with her, and she talks about what she's eating that night. She says, well, tonight I just had chicken, and I just like blast her. I said, you know, one time I just said, you're a cannibal. She said, how can you say that? I said, chicken, you know, chicken is feelings. She said, well, I love chicken. I said, no, you don't. You love to kill chicken. Anyway, sometimes it just comes out, you know, I can't help it. But I can have normal relationships with people. You know, I really have no problem. Because if you just try to see that we're all just family members, and it really is not important whether someone's a member of the Hare Krishna movement or not. I mean, some people are devotees in different ways. I mean, even Christians are devotees. I mean, they, you know, good Christians, they realize they're devotees. Like Prabhupada said, they're Vaishnavas. And if someone's a good Muslim, and they're not too fanatic, ready to kill you, then they're devotees. But everybody's a devotee. They're just looking for Krishna. And it's a question of where they're looking, yeah.
Can we call atheists aspiring devotees too?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, you know why they're atheists? It's really interesting. I've been studying, like, Richard Dawkins. I don't know if you've ever heard of him before.
No. I mean, yeah, I have.
He's one of the most famous atheists in the world. And if you hear what he says, I mean, he's just like, almost like Kamsa. But anyway, he's more Krishna conscious than practically I'll ever be, because he's just like dedicated to trying to disprove the existence of God. Because basically he does know that God exists, you know, in his heart. And perhaps he's projecting his own experiences with his father. You know, so it's not that he's not a devotee, he just doesn't, he can't recognize it right now. He can't recognize it. And I've seen people who were not members of the Krishna consciousness, never exposed to Krishna consciousness, but when they come in contact with a devotee, like they eat prasadam and they don't even know it's prasadam, their eyes light up. Or they hear the holy name. I mean, for example, I have one disciple who's very tricky to get people to chant the holy name, but not Hare Krishna, Gauranga. She's in the UK, and she goes around, with these little stickers, and she's a social worker, and she gets all of her clients to say Gauranga. It's part of the therapy, they come and see it, and they become happy just by hearing the holy name. So our business is to make everybody happy. Somehow or other slip in prasadam, slip in the holy name, wherever people are at. And also another point, here's another point, be interested in people. I find that you should spend a lot of time listening to people. And if you love people, if you like people, you'll listen to people. And that's, for me, I don't find it diverts my mind from my spiritual path to do that. Because my spiritual path is, I just love everybody, and I love Krishna, and of course I'm pretty liberal too. You might find other sannyasis with other opinions. Anyways, the demons. Demons, there's the demons. So, I don't know, I just I do see things, or I try to see things in a Krishna conscious perspective, and it seems to work for me. So if you just think, this person is dear to Krishna, and then you relate to them on their own level. I mean, just like when my father was alive, I related to him just by talking politics, because I discovered when I talked about Krishna, it really wasn't so good for the relationship. So I talked about politics, and then I felt that that's what Krishna wanted, just engage him, so he would see I'm a normal person. I mean, I think it's important for everyone to see that devotees are normal people, in their viewpoint, normal, and so you can see like that you're doing public relations. And so it takes some practice, but the first thing is not to designate people as devotees or non-devotees, just to see they're all the same. Everyone's the same. People just doing different things, like someone's a scientist like him, someone's studying English, like English or Russian, like you're all students. Of course, I like scientists better, but anyway, so that's another. I'm just teasing. Because I can't talk about grammar. I'm not very good at that. But I can talk about science all day long. But but I'll still be interested. If you want to talk about grammar, because I like you, I'll still be interested in hearing about it. So that's the whole point. The whole point is just to see Krishna in everyone's heart.
Thank you so much.
And then if you can do that, there's no difference, here or there, Krishna's in your heart. Does that make sense? It takes practice. But try to get away from what people are not. Especially the negative definitions, non-devotees, or even demon is a negative definition too. The demons, the Rakshasa. I mean, I give this course in empathic communication, and I ask the devotees for all the negative designations they have for people who are not members of the Krishna conscious movement. It's amazing, you go through 3 or 4 pages of a flip chart. It's like Rakshasas, Malekshas, Yavanas, Karmis. We're really accustomed to put labels on people, and that really disconnects us. It really is bad. I mean, one of the things we teach, which is also nonviolent communication, about the disconnection in communication, one is called diagnosis where you diagnose someone, you give someone a label. You know, he's puffed up. And then you see the person in terms of the label. You don't see him or her as a person, a dynamic person who has feelings, you know, and changes from moment to moment. You just see them as one particular designation. Non-devotee, you are a non-devotee. You are a pure devotee. That's also a designation. You're a sannyasi. You're whatever. Oh. Even with Krishna. You're God. No, he's not. He's a nice guy, you know. Krishna likes it when you don't put a label on him. What do you think about that? He may be God, but that's just his job. But that he does it in his spare time without even thinking about it. So, how's that sound? So, what else? Anybody else have questions? Before your parents get upset with you for coming home late or something. You tell me you're preaching to the demons, you know. So, any other questions? Yeah.
I have recently, like a friend of mine shared a quote from Skanda Purana on Facebook. I think it was Skanda Purana, where it said something along the lines that even those who fail to become happy when encountering a Vaishnava will go along with their generations before them to the most worst of health. And I was just, I'm currently not in a state where a lot of things make me happy. And it's like really bringing me doubts, like would it not be better if I just like close myself in a room and never get out?
The problem with those quotes from the Puranas is that most of the Puranas have been tampered with, other than the Bhagavatam. And so they're not in their original state. So I don't really wouldn't take that as, you know. And if anything, you know, of course, people who offend great devotees of the Lord, that's one thing. But if you don't make them happy, I mean, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I mean, otherwise, devotees shouldn't go out. Because, you know, every time you meet people, some people are not happy. You know, why should you distribute books? Because it's not that every door you knock on, the person goes, wow, there you are, I've been waiting for you my whole life. And sometimes they just slam the door, isn't it, when you distribute books? And that mean you're condemning the person to go to hell for many lifetimes? I mean, I can't accept that.
Thank you.
I can't accept it. So, no, I mean, one has to use their common sense. It's just, I mean, obviously, if you kick a Vaishnava, there may be some reaction to it, but just like, you know, you just can't take that verbatim. And sometimes Bhaktivinoda Thakur says a lot of these statements in certain shastras are to scare people who are on a lower level. You know, because many people who are not intelligent function on the basis of fear. You know, not, you know, like the Christians do, you know. Are you afraid of going to hell? Stuff like that. And for people, you know, let's talk about Middle Eastern religions. That may work for people who are not sophisticated or educated, just to make them half civilized. You know, why don't I speed when I'm driving a car? Because I'm afraid of getting a ticket. I do drive a car. And I would love to speed. One time I was going like, it was 150 kilometers somewhere. It was a national park. I thought, there's no police in this place. So I just like pushed down the pedal. It was a straight road.
No.
And then all of a sudden I see these flashing lights behind me. And I thought, no. That was the last time I got a ticket. That was about 25 years ago. So now I don't speed because I'm afraid. So sometimes, you know, fear may be used in certain cases to get people to behave themselves. But for intelligent people, other than driving cars, you know, intelligent people, and in other words, you know, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, you know, sometimes like all these descriptions of the hells and everything like that, you know, I'm not saying the hells aren't there, but I'm saying the descriptions are there to just like really, it's like, oh, I better just like not eat meat, not drink liquor. But for me, the reason I follow the regulative principles is because I love Krishna. I don't do anything myself because of fear. I'm not afraid of that stuff. I'm not afraid of karma and stuff like that. You know, why am I a vegetarian? I don't care. I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan or whatever I am because I'm afraid of the karma eating me. I do it for a positive reason because of the compassion towards animals and because I know that's what Krishna likes and I love Krishna and all that other stuff. So I think we should do the positive thing and don't worry about all those negative injunctions. I think a lot of them are just to get people to behave. You see, there's different injunctions for people in different statuses of life. And 99% of the people, that's the only thing to control their behavior. You know, why don't you steal? Because I'm afraid of getting caught and going to jail. What do you think? Jail's there, that's for sure. But if you didn't have the police and jail, I think a lot more people would steal, wouldn't they? So that's my understanding. So don't worry. Just be happy and do things because you choose to do them. That's another thing. I was just talking to a devotee before. And she was remarking properly that sometimes in a religious institution we do things because we have to do them. And that's a very bad energy to have. Why are you chanting? Well, I have to chant. Why are you waking up early? Because a nun will get angry with me if I don't. But I have to get up early. Why are you, you know, all this, well, have to. Why are you giving classes when I have to give a class? Why am I talking to all of you if I have to talk to all of you? I mean, if you live your life like that, it's a completely miserable life. So my philosophy is that we should choose to do things. And if we're intelligent, we'll see that choosing to do things for Krishna makes us happy. You know, you brought a very important point up about, you know, fear. Fear, and I can't relate to fear-based religiosity. I just can't relate to it. And, you know, sometimes you get heavy people, spiritual people, perhaps even in the movement, who say, if you don't listen to me, you'll never go back to Godhead. You know, it's the ultimate guru's ultimate weapon, you know. Disciple, if you don't listen to me, you will never go back, or it'll be 10 million lifetimes. And, you know, you can't live life like then. You might as well join the Christian church or something like that. Or Baptist, even better. You know, Baptist. No, it's a type of church where they really function on the basis of fear. Fear and promises that if they just believe and do any damn thing, it'll be all right. So, you know, I just be relaxed and have a good time. And, you know, if someone's not ready to chant 16 rounds, it's all right. It's better to admit that and chant 16 rounds or do whatever. If someone's not ready to stop drinking liquor, you know, just whatever they can do for Krishna. Krishna's like that. In the 12th chapter of the Gita, Krishna's very interesting. He says, you know, just always think of me, etc. And if you can't do that, follow the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga. And if you can't do that, offer the fruits of your activities to me. You know this whole section of the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna's like that. Krishna, in the Gita, Krishna's not like some mean old god. He's kind of nice, isn't it? At the end of the Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, you know, do whatever you want. I've already explained the repercussion for each particular course of action. You know, so you choose. And Arjuna chose, of course, to fight, to serve Krishna. So to me, that's Krishna consciousness. I just don't want to do anything because I'm forced to do it. It's miserable. It's miserable life. Why should you be miserable? You have to be happy, isn't it? Prabhupada said, actually, no, the GBC motto was more devotees, happier devotees. So that's the way you should be. Be happy, relax, do laugh, yoga. Isn't it? I mean,
Of course.
chill out, you know, ho ho, ha ha ha. Actually, if you repeat that enough times, you start laughing, you can't control it.
Plus it's contagious. So
It's
one
contagious.
person starts laughing.
Yeah, just ho ho, ha ha ha, then ho ha, ho ho. You have everybody do ho ho, ha ha ha. And it's so ridiculous that everybody just starts laughing. But you can also do it with yourself. You just go to a mirror and start saying that in front of a mirror, ho ho, ha ha ha, ho ho.
Or the gibberish. You know it?
The gibberish.
Žubodravština.
Gibberish means just talking nonsense. Yeah, you should all try laugh yoga.
On Saturday when we have Sangha.
Yeah, try it. Why don't you lead a session on Saturday? Just get everyone laughing, and then you'll feel so relaxed. After that, you know, just like, and you'll get rid of all your diseases in your body. You know, disease, actually the word disease comes from the word in English at least, dis-ease. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
That someone is not, nervous, uptight, something like that. So generally, if you're more relaxed and happy, you're not going to be sick that much. You know, like I don't get that sick. You know, I'm 95 years old. You never know it. You know. No, I mean I don't get sick because I laugh a lot. You know, if I get a cold, I just laugh, and the cold goes away. Or I rest a little bit and I laugh. It's true. And this morning I had a sore throat. I rested a little bit and I laughed at myself. And I felt better. And even according to what I was telling Ananta the other day, that you have these messenger proteins in your body, and these messenger proteins carry your mood to the whole body. I told you that, didn't I? There's different proteins. They're actually amino acid chains. I don't know if anyone studied medicine here. They're amino acid chains, and they make a particular shape according to the attractions between the molecules and the atoms. And there's actually messengers that go through the bloodstream and say, hey, you're miserable. You're miserable, and then they cause the immune system to go down, and then you end up with a disease. So even your physical health is better if you laugh. What do you think? You should do laugh yoga in the temple every morning before Mangal. Get all the devotees. Oh my God! Imagine. But how much trouble I get into when Prahlad Maharaj gets here.
That's life.
That's life. I have so much trouble if you do that. So, any other questions? Just be happy. Life's too short to be miserable. No other questions? What are you going to do with this film? You know? Blackmail me or something?
The ones who could not come will
Oh, the ones who could not
to not go on.
Yeah, you just... I mean, if you want, you can put it on the internet. I don't care. I mean, my life's an open book. I don't really care. I mean, whatever I say is public. And everybody knows how I feel like this. If people don't like it, that's their problem. It's not my problem. All right?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, because that's it. Hasta la vista.
Time for prashad.
Oh, you're gonna have prashad? I think you're supposed to be home by 8 o'clock.
Thank you very much for your time and
Okay.
giving support. And
Yeah.
please kindly bless the endeavor so this program can.
Okay. We'll see you tomorrow too. Right?
Yeah, sure.
I'm leaving tomorrow, going to Germany. Join the skinheads. You know what the skinheads are?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're neo-Nazis. Anyways, can you imagine that? Germany, then America, then India. You go downhill, we have fun. How can I get a copy of this video?
You can copy it right now from the
Oh,
card.
that's nice of you. That's good.
I didn't stop yet.
It's too bad you didn't get videos of everybody. I mean, just
Yeah.
would have been so much more interesting.
You one.
Yeah, that's
one
just,
shot.
and everybody wait.
Because I'd like
Arriba!
something like this, and I would show to our university preaching team in the United States.
Arriba!
He's not part of it. He's old.
You should cut out that.
We just let him in because we had to.
Formality, right?
If you ever want that Prabhupada stuff from me, then tomorrow is the last chance, and I'm leaving at 11. Yeah.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Adios!